Welcome into Doors Unlocked. We're here in the studio for another episode. This time to talk a crushing loss. Feels like we said that last week. We're saying it again this week. 30-27 in double overtime. Vanderbilt football falls on the road to number 7 Missouri. This was a great game. I thought Vanderbilt played excellent throughout the game. We're going to talk a little bit about offense, a little bit about defense. But before we get into that, I guess I'm just thinking, how close is this team to contending? How close is this team to being special? And ZP, what are your thoughts? What did you see from the offense?
Well, I think it was another fine game for the offense, right? Diego Pavia, another clean stat sheet, threw the ball well, ran the ball well. The one thing I want to see from him is just more improvising, right? More explosive plays by letting him run around and throw the Patrick Mahomes pass down the field to the talented pass catchers. Something I saw last year that worked for Vanderbilt is getting guys like Jaden McGowan, he was on the team last year, these short passes and letting him use his skill, because we are an athletic team, to run around a little bit. This week we only had one guy get more than one reception, and that was Eli Stowers, so I would love to see us spread the ball around more and get more pass catchers involved in an explosive, creative offense, maybe more trick plays. And the guy that I always love is Cole Spence. Please, let's get him the football. He's 6'7", he can run, he can catch. Let's get him the football.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot to look forward to with this offense. There's certainly some growing pains that we've seen. Would love to see Skinner, Sherrill, Spence get involved a little bit more. Errington, what did you see from the defense?
Yeah, man, I'm the great optimist. Although we came out on the losing side, something that just continues to stand out to me each and every game is the linebacker play. Langston Patterson and Brian Longwell, the two anchors of the defense. The fact that these guys are both young, Langston Patterson a junior and Brian Longwell a senior. Typically, linebackers can be very hard to come by, and they're usually quick turnover rate. Usually you'll have a senior guy, but the fact that these guys are both young and still going to be able to contribute to this team going forward is a huge plus factor. I think Langston was the leading tackler last year, and he continues to be that for the team this year. And just kind of talking to some of the guys, like I've just heard that they've both been garnering respect and getting the team morale boosted, because it can be difficult when you come you're so close versus Georgia State. You come out, you're right on the cusp of a victory. Then versus Missouri, you're right on the cusp, and it's like team morale can get really shot. But then I've heard that these two guys have been really big for the team. Just come on, guys, let's keep going, let's keep executing. Like the wins are on the way. Let's just keep sticking to our process. So that was a big thing to see from the team. Another thing we found out is that this team has fight. Sometimes this turns into us playing it to the level of our opponent, but like we've just discussed, we have SEC play coming up, so we have a lot of teams that are rolling through very soon. And the fact that we were able to go toe-to-toe with Brady Cook, Luther Burden, Theo Weiss, Nate Noel, like a very talented team, is big to see, because we have Alabama rolling up here soon. Won't get too much into that, but just having the confidence that you can stick with these offensively dominant teams is good to go going forward, because we're going to need that. And then just a new guy that's really kind of come up is Glenn Seabrooks Jr. I was looking at PFF recently, and he's been everywhere, all over the place. I've heard the defensive line coach Black, I've heard all these guys just rave about how good Glenn is, and the fact that he's a freshman, he's going to be here to stay, big part of the team. And just what I'm really excited about is just seeing this team continue to build. Coach Lee bringing pieces, different contributors, everyone pitching in, and I know that the wins are on the way. Like I said, everyone just has to stick to it, and they're going to come.
Yeah, we're a team sitting here right now at 2-2, which hurts so bad, because we're so close to 4-0, right? A couple plays, a minute left in that game against Georgia State, after the offense just comes like roaring down the stretch. And then this Missouri game with a 31-yard missed field goal to end it. This 2-2 team is so close to 4-0. But I think, if that tells us anything about where we're headed for the rest of the SEC schedule, I think we can surprise some teams. I think Alabama's going to come in here not really expecting us to give them a good game, and who knows, we could win games like that now. I have the confidence in this team, in Pavia, if we can expand the offense a little bit, that we can put up enough points to compete with these top caliber teams.
Yeah, I agree. And something that just really stood out again was just the fact that, as you can see, it's usually one play or just a couple strand of plays that continue to get us. Like this past game, it was the stretch. If you take away the 200 and probably 50 yards or 200 to 250 yards they had from stretch alone, you take that away, Vanderbilt dominates that game. So that's inspiring, because you see, okay, Coach Lee now knows what the team needs to work on, where they need to kind of shore up in some places. And when they get on top of these things, Diego Pavia, the offense is going to do their thing. Now, when the defense eliminates explosive plays, that's the name of the game. So when they get on top of that, I'm excited to see the direction that this team is going to trend in.
Absolutely. I think that this is a very close team. I think that they're 1 or 2 games away from really putting it together. We'll see They've got a bye week coming up, so they'll get their bearings a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I guess what I want to know from the two of you guys, from your expert analysis, is they should be 4-0. They're 2-2 right now. If you're 4-0, you're well within the AP top 25. How close is this team, in actuality, in present day, to being a top 25 team week in, week out?
Yeah, let's be careful here with should be 4-0. I wouldn't go that far. Definitely could be, right? Probably should be 3-2. I think that Georgia State game hurts a lot more than the Missouri one. The Missouri one, by no means can you say we should have won that game, right? But this team feels close. I think the one thing that we're missing is that ability to win, right? That clutch factor. Those top teams, just like Missouri did, unfortunately, is in the last couple minutes of the game, when the game's close, they find a way to win. And that is the key to breaking through. That is, I mean, you see it every year in the NFL. If I've learned anything from the first 3 weeks of NFL play, it is every team is so freaking close to the next. I mean, right, the Panthers came out and won by 30. They're not that far off. It's the teams that find a way to win, those clutch players, those clutch teams, clutch coaches, that can really get their records up. And for us, that would mean a bowl game. And I think we're probably lost on a bowl game this year, but in the future, if we can turn this team, if Clark Lee can find a way to turn this team into a winning program where we win these close games, that's our next step.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say the word like removed from a bowl game this year, because as we've just seen, we can play. That was the number 7 team in the country. Yes, we play Texas. Yes, we play Bama. Those are teams who are ranked higher than Missouri. But the fact that we show we can hang with these guys, the team just needs a little bit of confidence. I think I also read an infographic they showed in the game that Vanderbilt has a 27-game losing streak against AP top 10 opponents.
Yes.
So they just need that single one to be like, guys, we can hang with these guys. Because you have Ball State, Kentucky, Auburn, LSU. These are all teams that we have seen struggle to some degree this year. So it's like, if we can, I strongly believe if they can hang with Bama for at least a couple quarters and show like, this is supposed to be the creme de la creme of the entire country. We're hanging with these guys. I think we could knock a lot of teams, maybe besides Texas, by surprise. So in regards to the top 25, that might be a little far-fetched, because we were getting some votes before the Georgia State game. That game kind of knocked us out, made people be like, okay, what's really going on? But in regards to our play, I think we have the potential to be a top 25 team. It's just time for them to go out and show the world what Vanderbilt's been working with, and that the rebuild has been effective.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this is a Vanderbilt team that's going to, it's got a tough path ahead of it to get to a bowl game. You've got to pick up a handful of SEC wins against, pretty quality opponents. But I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility at all. You talk about Kentucky has struggled at times. Auburn's looked terrible. LSU let UCLA hang around. Not a very good UCLA team. There are absolutely winnable games on the schedule. Ball State, obviously, as well. But Vanderbilt's going to get a nice break this weekend, get a chance to sit down, relax on the couch. Not too much, but relax on the couch, watch some good SEC football, figure out what their opponents look like, do some scouting. And with that, Vanderbilt's going into break. We're going to take a quick break here for a very special guest interview done by our two co-anchors.
All right, we're here with CJ Taylor, star safety for the Vanderbilt Commodores, #1 on the field. CJ, we got a couple questions for you today. First of all, thanks for joining us. But Errington and I wanted to start this interview by going back to your past in high school. We heard you were an absolute beast on the basketball court. Tell us about some of your favorite memories as a basketball player and why you decided football is the sport for you.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. But no, basketball was something that I could just do. Like, football was always serious for me. Like, I knew that I was like really good at football, and like I wanted to play college football and all that. So when it was time for basketball, it was time for me just like let loose. And I never want to lose or anything like that, but it was something that I could just do, like get away and like took my mind to a different place where I could just have fun and not really care about the results. So I trained it growing up, and I really thought that like I was gonna be a basketball player, like go to the NBA and stuff like that. But the older I got, height didn't turn out my way. I'm standing about 6 foot, so I'm kind of like a shooting guard or a small forward at heart. But if I wanted to achieve that goal, I would have to play point guard, and that really wasn't my idea. So no, but in high school, dude, it was just like going from football to basketball. And, like the mental, there was a mental block because, football, you're always tackling, lifting weights and stuff like that. And then, like, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but like Steph Curry he would always start the season off slow. And people would always worry if he got too much, like if he bench pressed too much or if he was gaining too much weight throughout the offseason. So, throughout throughout life, I always like to go through obstacles and see if I can come out on the other side. So, like I always started out cold for the basketball season, but as the season went along, I ended up being all-state the last 3 years of my high school career in basketball. But one moment in particular that was, stand out for me was like we played against a team called East Hamilton, and it was the game to go to state, and we were down 15 points the whole entire game. And I had 3 points at halftime, and everybody was talking and talking, and like back in McMinnville where I'm from, the athletic teams don't really go too far. So everybody was like, here we go again, here we go again. And, I was a captain of that team, and we ended up winning that game in overtime by 9. And I ended up with like 46 points. So that was kind of life-changing and, something to talk about forever.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Quick little bonus question on top of that. Could you beat me in basketball?
Yeah, I mean, me and Errington have we went to the rec a few times, and True's a football player at heart. He's not a basketball player at all.
He can score on me. Don't let him lie to you. And this kind of leads me to my next. Obviously, I know CJ on a little bit of a deeper level, and I don't always call you CJ. I have some other names. So explain to the people.
Yeah.
Name Tink. Where'd you get that from, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah. So when I didn't really like playing football at first. I started playing when I was like 4 years old, and I played on a team called the Red Pioneers. So it was Blue Pioneers, Red Pioneers, White Pioneers, whatever. So I was on the Red Pioneers, and like it didn't take the coaches too long to figure out like I was going to be real. So then like I had a good I was having a good we played Pee Wee. I was having a good season, and then we were in a championship game, and I was playing bad, and like I kept hearing Tinkerbell, and it like really made me really mad. It made me mad, and I started crying and stuff like that.
Okay.
So then I told him to stop calling me that, and then it was Coach Paul Martin, but he started calling me Tinkerbell. And then I ended up playing the game. I played well, and then he said, "From now on, I'm calling you Tink." And then like my whole family started calling me that. So it kind of started out when I was in Little League playing football, and I wasn't playing too good. I had like a little attitude. I didn't really want to play, and he called me Tinkerbell for some reason, and it always stuck. So
you certainly aren't a Tinkerbell on the field anymore. In fact, that was a point of contention against Georgia State. The controversial and critical big-time targeting call on you there in the second half caused you to miss the rest of that Georgia State game and part of the Missouri game. What did you think about that call?
yeah, the league, it's getting to the point where, it's an offensive game. So you just kind of got to be careful with, how you tackle. And, we train it in ways like try to keep your head out of the tackle and stuff like that. But, in some instances, like if you're playing really fast, you're not really focused on that. Obviously, I didn't intentionally hit the guy with my head. I didn't think it was targeted at all, but that's what they called. So obviously, it was a bummer and it hurt because we had all the momentum in that game until that point. But and it kept me out the Missouri game, which people, if you watch that game, you know how that game ended. Which I wish I could have played the full game in that, but. Yeah, I don't think it was I know it wasn't intentional, and I really don't think it was a flag, but the way they call that now is just so like it's ticky-tack and it's bang bang. So like that's about all I got to say on it. It's just like you have to be careful with how you tackle, and sometimes nowadays it's better just to let them catch it.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be a penalty.
Yeah. So that was kind of a somber note. Now let's end things off on a lighter note. So word on the street is you like chitlins. And I don't know much about chitlins. I just know that anytime I've been in the vicinity of chitlins, it's a smell that I don't like. And when we were roommates, every time we brought chitlins in the room, I either covered my nose or I left the room. So tell the people, what is it about chitlins that you like? What are chitlins? Just give us the background on chitlins.
Yeah, so chitlins is it's pig intestines. So and like it's ever since I was younger. So obviously I'm from Tennessee. And my mom, my family, obviously I'm African American. My mom and my dad, it's like something they always brought to us, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, like that's a side, you gotta eat it. Like that's part of it. Like that's what you're gonna eat. And at first, like I'd always like, shoo, they stink. Like they're nasty. I thought they smelled bad or whatever, and then they kind of just grew on me. I love hot sauce. So I just like as a little kid, I would always just pound hot sauce on them and just eat them and like close my do this and eat it. And then like all of a sudden, like I started to like it. So like now I have to I beg my mom to make them like on Thanksgiving and Christmas. So yeah, like True was saying, we were roommates and like every Thanksgiving. So we play Tennessee on Thanksgiving or the Thanksgiving weekend. So we get to go home on that Thursday. They let us go home and then we have to come back later that day. But like I live an hour away, so I always go home and bring like a big Tupperware of it back. And a couple years ago, True was like, "Bro, do not bring that back in the house. Do not bring that back in the house." I'm like, "Bro, I have to." So and every time like you can fill them up and they don't smell like it. They only really smell like it in the house that they're made in. So like back home, I'll go home and like I'll walk through the door. I'm like, and you can smell it. So like if you put them in a Tupperware, if you put them in a Tupperware and you bring them back to your dorm or whatever, and they're closed, you won't smell them until you like put them in the microwave. So like some days like I put in True was like, "Bro, don't cook those in here, bro." And then I would like put him in there, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm leaving." He would like walk out and stuff like. But no, that's kind of the thought behind it. It's kind of like and like to go down like storyline. That's kind of back in the day. That's what like slave owners gave slaves was like the trash, and like people call the chitlins like the trash because no one else wanted to eat them. So that's kind of like I didn't know that until my mom told me about it, and then I kind of like grew into it, and now it's a part of who I am.
That's awesome. Where do you buy chitlins? We might need some for the show next week. Maybe we'll all three try them at the same time. How do you buy them?
You better, hey, I don't know if True gonna do that, but no, you can buy them at like Walmart, and they come pre-clean, but like you gotta clean them again, just to like just subconscious, like you gotta clean them.
You know what's the
again.
issue when you have to
But
read something that they already cleaned.
All right. CJ,
but no,
that'll do it
you can
for
get them at
today.
Walmart, stuff like that.
Yeah, all
I
right.
got you.
One final question actually is, can you dunk? And if so, at what age could you dunk?
Yeah, so I had knee surgery, so I started touching the rim like my eighth grade, like when I was in eighth grade, like just touching the rim, and then I had double knee surgery my freshman year in high school, so I kind of lost all my bounce. And then I finally started being able to touch the rim again, like 10th grade year. And then I got my first dunk in high school when I was a senior. And then, yeah, True seen me dunk a few times, but, you know, his back's a little messed up. He can't dunk no more. True can't dunk no more.
He's not a better athlete. We won't start that.
Yeah, how much of that is true? All right,
All of it.
that's going to do it for today. I appreciate you joining us. This is Errington Truesdale. I'm Zach Phillip, friend of the show, CJ Taylor. Thanks for joining us, CJ.
Sir, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, that was awesome stuff from CJ Taylor, captain of this Vanderbilt team and a star on the roster. We're going to wrap it up here with a little bit of women's soccer. Unfortunately, we saw the unbeaten streak for the Vanderbilt Commodores come to an end. 5-1-3 now. We saw Vanderbilt go on the road and capture a really nice point. Drew with number 6 Auburn in hostile territory. Primetime game, really impressive. Expected them to come back in, kind of dismantle a weaker Georgia team at home back at the Plex where they've been so good this year. That wasn't exactly what we saw. Obviously, Georgia comes in, scores an early goal. Vanderbilt, despite generating 18 shots, 9 of which were on goal, unable to score throughout the rest of the game. 85 minutes scoreless after that goal. And, it's a frustrating loss. The unbeaten streak comes to an end now after 8 games. But there's a lot to look forward to with this team. It's not going to get any easier in the SEC, but I think there's a lot to look forward to. I think that they will rebound as Darren Ambrose and his squad have done so often in the past. I don't think that the course changes. I think this is still an SEC tournament team. I think this is still an NCAA tournament team. And with that, I did want to pick your guys' brain about one last thing. With Alabama coming up in 2 weeks, we're going to talk a little bit more about it on our episode next week and preview the Crimson Tide in full. But X Factor, who on Vanderbilt's team is going to make this Alabama game much more winnable?
Usually I'd say Cole Spence because he's my guy, but I'm going to go with A.J. Newberry. I really like what I've seen from him, a nice 1-2 punch, little thunder lightning with Cedric Alexander coming out of the backfield. Even I'd like to see him involved more in the screen game in short passes, sort of like Jaden McGowan, that comp from last year. Get the ball out of Pavia's hands quickly, but involve more pass catchers and not run the football as often. Errington, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a no-brainer for me. You know me, former linebacker. I'm going with my guys in the middle. Langston Patterson, Brian Longwell, 2 guys bringing the energy, bringing the juice, leaders of this defense, and I'm excited to see them get the guys going. I think we take down Bama.
I'll go with a couple of transfers in Corday Sidnor and Zaylin Wood, 2 of the better pass rushers on this Vanderbilt team. Both have been banged up throughout the early courses of the season. I think if Vanderbilt can get the pass rush going, it struggled to do so against Missouri. It's going to make life a lot easier against Alabama. But with that, we're going to be done for the day. Hope you all have a wonderful week, and go Commodores.